Well, we enjoyed the show tonight.
Absolutely.
Frederick.
You just burn down the place.
London, Boysdale will never be the same again.
Never, ever.
I thank you. You know, sometimes it's funny. Sometimes you do some small events like these, and those are the ones you enjoy the most.
Yes,
because it's up close with your
Intimate.
fans,
Yeah.
and you get a chance to just one-on-one with them. And I like that a lot of times. And most times we do big festivals. The stage is here and the audience is out there, so you don't get a chance to interact individually with the audience. But this place is beautiful, and the
Definitely.
audience here is really solid, and we had a ball. We all enjoyed ourselves
Well,
immensely.
for those that don't know, we're talking to the legendary Freddie Mcgregor.
Yes, sir.
Now I'm going to tell you, Freddie, I'm 54,
Really?
and I've been listening to your music before I was born.
You would have been?
in my mother's womb.
Oh
Me
my
too.
gosh.
Me too.
I mean, your mom and dad has been playing my songs
That's what
before
I'm
you were.
saying, man.
I get a lot of that these days,
man.
especially from young kids who
and-
tell me they want a picture,
Yes.
they're gonna send it to their mom. Their usual thing is,
Yeah.
if my dad sees this, he's gonna just drop
I'm
dead.
telling you, man.
I was filming and sent it to my dad. I sent it to my dad. So he's going to be thinking, when you there? You know, they went there.
But listen, Freddie, you
Yes.
started at 7 years old.
Yes, I did.
And you've been making music ever since. The longevity. Because, you know, we get a lot of one-hit wonders nowadays. Longevity.
When I started out in music, still my hope and aspiration was to try and make some music that would last for very long, because I recognize that great music will last for a long time, mediocre music will disappear. So I was careful about trying to make some songs that years after they were made, people could still love them.
Sure.
And I would love to think that I have achieved a lot of that. Because I have some songs I could never leave out of my set. People
Yes.
just love these songs.
Telling you.
And these songs are 30 years old, 40 years old, and you just can't stop doing them.
Yeah, big ship sailing on the ocean.
Classic.
Now, let me say this. I studied in the States.
Okay.
And I studied black history and religion.
Wow.
You guys, Dennis Brown, yourself, Bob Marley, was my introduction to black history.
My.
Tell us about the emphasis of black history throughout your music.
Well, I grew up in an era where the consciousness was really rife and strong.
Sure.
I grew up around Bob Marley, I must say. Bob referred to me as Little Freddie until he passed. That's what he still called me, Little Freddie. Because when I first came to Studio One, it was Bob and Bunny Wailer who stuck 3 beer boxes together so I could reach the microphone, because I was that small.
Have mercy.
Wow.
And until today, every so often I run into Bunny Wailer, he reminds me. And I cherish that.
Yeah.
Because Mr. Daddy had a sound system and he used to keep dances. So he had beers and beer boxes in the back of the studio.
Wow.
So I was singing with Ernest Wilson from the Clarendonian.
Yes.
But Ernest is older than I am by about 3-4 years.
Okay.
So he was much bigger than I was at 7.
Yeah.
He was about 12 at the time. So there was a mismatch there in terms of height. So they went around the back and brought back 3 beer boxes, stuck them together, and lift me and put me on the beer boxes so I could
So you can
reach the
lift
height
them
with
up.
Ernest.
Wow.
Because back then, recording in the studio was 2 tracks.
Right.
One track would be for the music, the other track for the singers. So no one could afford to make a mistake, neither the musicians nor the artists.
Wow.
So when the engineer pressed the button and says red light, nobody can make a mistake.
Wow.
So, you know, you have to just try and make the song and go until the end. Sometimes when you make a mistake, the musicians get upset because they are all professional people. And, you know, but it was that kind of journey, and it really taught me a lot, because it teaches me now today how not to make mistakes. Especially when voicing a song, you go on the microphone. A lot of the songs that I voice that become number one, I just go around the microphone and I sing it one time. And everybody says, that's it. That's it, never a second time.
That's
I mean,
amazing.
it's just a training from being at Studio
But that's
One.
amazing, because even when you look at today, you know, a lot of the time it's not everything is not authentic. It's not, you know, a lot of recording, there's a lot of digital
Yes,
and
that's
everything else. Sound like the voice make it sound, you know, high pitched.
No, man.
So that's amazing just to hear that, you know, your story in regards to that. But in terms of, you know, being singing from the age of 7, what was the pressure like on your parents as well?
Fortunately for me, my parents didn't mind. They didn't say anything. They were in for it. I give you a short history on that. Ernest Wilson, Peter Austin were the original members of the Clarendonians, but we all came from Hayes in Clarendon. Ernest Wilson and I, we live very closely in the same district, Top Hill. So I used to go by Ernest's house, and Ernest's mom used to work at Veer Technical High School. She and my mom were good friends. So one Sunday, when Ernest and Peter was going to Kingston for a recording session, Miss Ethelyn, who was Ernest's mom's, she came around to my mom and said, Tiny, because my mom name is Tiny, said, Tiny, them going to Kingston Sunday and them not leaving him. And my mom reference to her was, but I have the money for send him. And she said, don't worry about the money, I get paid on Thursday, them not leaving him.
Wow.
So she paid my fare to Kingston.
Wow.
And my mom prepared my clothes, everything. My journey to Kingston was different. We live about a mile from the bus terminus. That bus is called Clarendon Comet. So when the bus blow 5 o'clock in the morning, we could hear it from where we live. And we have a shortcut that we would use to go to the main road to meet the bus. My mother made a thermos full of tea that morning, and my sister, she gave me a nutmeg to put in my mouth, and my mother stuffed some newspaper in my chest. I didn't know what any of this was all about. This was my first long distance journey. But I later learned that it was for motion sickness. The nutmeg and the newspaper was for motion sickness. And you know, Miss Ethelyn, she came out to the square with Ernest and Peter, and her last instruction was, remember, when you get to the cemetery, well, she never said cemetery because we never know about cemetery. She said, when you get to the cemetery, you're downtown. I asked the driver to put it on the number 13 Patipan bus and drop you off at Mr. Dad's studio. And the last thing she said, Ernest, take care of Tiny Picnic.
Pressure.
And that was it, you know, we reached Kingston and we ended up at Studio One.
The last thing I'd like to ask you, not cutting you, is spirituality.
Yes.
I grew up in a Christian home, but I learned more from listening to your songs, Dennis Brown, who literally sang the song.
Oh yes.
What kept you guys
that's how we grew
connected?
up. Let me tell you, in 1975, I became a member of the 12th Tribe of Israel organization, Rastafarian organization. That's when I started to, my consciousness with Africa and the world of that started to open up. Dennis Brown also is a member. So we refer to each other as brothers. He was born in February and he's from the tribe of Joseph, like Bob Marley. I was born in June and my tribe is Levi.
Me too.
So, congrats.
Yes.
So we refer to each other that way. So we understand each other spiritually. And we kind of keep that bond together. So from about 1975, if you notice, my lyrical content started to shift. Bobby Babylon, Rastaman Camp, Africa Here I Come. Those are songs. Wine of Violence. I actually wrote that song from reading Proverbs. Solomon was speaking to me when I wrote, put your trust in the Son of the Most High, children, for he shall be like Mount Zion. Keep away from evildoers, for they will only push you down in multitude of sinners. Don't eat the bread of wickedness, stay away from the wine of violence. That was actually Proverbs. So we were taught to read our Bible one chapter every day, from Genesis 1 to Revelation 22. I read my Bible 3 times. It took me 3 years, 2 months and 4 days to read it one chapter every day. The first time I read my Bible, I didn't understand what I read. The second time, I merely understood. The third time, I was asked to read from a Schofield Reference Bible, which I would encourage all our listeners to get a copy of the Schofield Reference Bible. It depicts the entire translation like a movie because it has footnotes and it has references. So for example, reference F would send you to a footnote and the footnote would tell you Magog was a name for Russia in 17 whatever. So now I understand that when Ezekiel prophesied and said, lo and behold, I see an iron bird. He was actually in the land of Russia, Magog or Magog, however you pronounce it at that time. So that's how the Schofield really enlightened me. So a lot of things that I read from reading twice, when I started reading the Schofield the third time, I started to get a completely different understanding now of how the thing is structured. And it's a good thing because it helps me today. It helps me to both take care of my family, teach my kids, and for me personally, to try and understand what it is that we're doing. And that's why I can say I know I was chosen to do what I'm doing. And I recognize that from early. Because as a youth, I used to close my eyes and imagine myself gone to foreign to sing for people. And you imagine like foreign is gold and everything.
Yeah.
But little did I know that today, I would be here doing that very work. So I attribute my work unto the Most High.
Yes.
Because I think every night when I go on stage, I consider myself administering to people through my music.
Yes.
Wonderful.
And that's why I don't do derogatory songs.
Yeah.
All my songs are positive. If it's a love song, I want it to be the most positive love song. If it's a cultural song, I want to bring it out in the most cultural way. And that's how I have been, and that's why I continue to be.
And I love the way that you just use your gift to bless us, you know.
It's amazing.
You know, it's just
Well, I try. I try my best.
seriously. And you seem so humble as well, you know.
I am. Well, we are to be. We are to be, because the praise must go to the Almighty.
Yes.
Even when we do well, we must always be thankful, because it's not us of ourselves.
Yes, most definitely.
Well, listen, we've taken enough of your time.
And I appreciate it. I
This
don't
is
mind.
MediaNet.
Time is
And
forever.
and we are just so happy to
It's
put
called
the time.
MediaNet.
MediaNet. We're the ones we streamed the whole thing live.
Okay.
We're gonna add this to the.
Well, I want to say,
streaming.
this is yours, Freddie Mcgregor, and we're backstage at Boysdale, and this is MediaNet. And when I'm in town, I tune into MediaNet, because guess what? Them give you all of your musical information and more. So MediaNet is my net. So you keep it locked. Don't touch your dial. Tune in. MediaNet. This is where it's at.
And on that note,
Yes.
Kaz,
Yes,
we
sir.
are grateful for this
Absolutely.
moment.
Thank
God
you
bless
so much.
Thank
Thank you
And,
too.
and we put our trust in the Most High.
Thank you, sir. I know you've been doing that.
Congratulations as well
Yes,
on your achievement.
thank you.
Can you give us a?